welcome. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope you're having a gorgeous day or night. Welcome to a In the Creek Tarot Oracle reading for you. Let's get you some messages from Spirit. Rose is here in her flamingo. I put a leash on the flamingo. So it's going to be a little bit of multitasking, but I think she's enjoying herself. I think that's the best thing I bought all summer. So this reading is timeless, collective. See what feels like it resonates, and always follow and trust that divine connection that's in you to your higher self, to God, to Source, to the universe, because the answer is always in you. And try to make balanced decisions between logic and intuition, so your decisions are sound and based in love and for the highest and greatest good of everyone. So we're all uplifted in love. Let's begin. Let's see what God, Source, Holy Spirit, Grace, Consciousness, our higher selves, angels and energies of love have for the highest and greatest good of all. What is the opening message right now in the collective's energy? Please and thank you. Some of you feel like you're left out, or somebody walked away, breadcrumbed you, didn't give an explanation, you don't really know what happened, you're feeling like you're in the cold or looking outside of a situation. Maybe there's something going on behind a closed door and you have no idea what happened. Maybe that's also the past and you're just seeing something different. I feel like some of you are having some acceptance that maybe something doesn't have closure. I also feel like somebody is now looking at how they left a situation. So this could be for some of you, somebody from way in the past, and you keep hearing questioning. And I also see somebody like really in their head. I actually see somebody crying in their car. So maybe this is somebody who's recognizing the way they left you was kind of crappy, that maybe they at the time didn't have an explanation or couldn't face you, but I feel like somebody sees that they were a little too cold. Maybe they've seen you have a glow up. Maybe they've seen you really like remain strong. Maybe some of you even went through a lot and this person had no idea what you actually went through. I am getting that somebody didn't, like they didn't want to face you crying, or they knew if they looked in your eyes, they'd see the depth of hurt in your soul. I feel like somebody didn't want, they ignored it, which kind of feels chicken, but you can't, I'm getting, you can't really blame someone, because I do feel like this person cared. Maybe you felt like they didn't. So why is abandoned, left out, walked away? And maybe for some of you, if this is reverse, you're looking at how you left a situation. Maybe you're even, looking back in high school or college, how you maybe ended a relationship. Also, I'm kind of getting that, not if this is just a, hey, I went on a couple dates and met you on, online and that kind of thing, and then you kind of didn't really feel that person and you just kind of, stop that situation. I'm not getting that. I'm getting that this is somebody you cared about. So maybe you're even reflecting how you would do it different now, being who you have become. What is another message on abandoned, left out? Maybe you held on to this for a very long time. I'm also getting that now that feels a little more like somebody else's energy. I feel like maybe you thought someone just walked away and didn't give a crap about you, but they kept you in their thoughts, in their heart. Maybe they had a situation, maybe they had a lot of stress. Maybe I hear moved, maybe some of them even moved. But somebody now is watching you, spying on you somehow, even if it's just replaying experiences you had in their mind. I'm also maybe getting another energy that maybe is clinging on to you or clinging on to somebody you care about because they're really scared of being abandoned. Maybe they haven't addressed, past hurts, issues, childhood trauma. I kind of feel like that's somebody who doesn't ever like to be alone because they never got to be. But I'm not really I don't know who that is. I feel like that might be somebody else. So maybe there's just having empathy for that person. If they are holding on to someone, clinging on, they have to learn that lesson of letting go, becoming who they could be, learning to love their own energy. I feel like that person, whoever that is, I feel like they need to, I don't know. I feel like they need to have I want to say like a hobby or a goal or a mission or something that's about them instead of their entire energy being about somebody else. Because that would be scary if you put all of your attention, effort, energy, into someone and maybe they would go away. But life is weird and sometimes many times there are changes. So what is this clinging energy, holding on, obsessing and spying all about? Please and thank you. Somebody's holding on to the fact that the chemistry never went away. I feel like that's towards you. Maybe you're even clinging on to the idea of chemistry like that, whatever it was, with whomever the person you were thinking about coming in. Also, for some of you, you had something that happened in the past, you've had some time to heal, and I feel like some of you have met somebody new. It was instant chemistry. You had that little spark happen that you didn't really expect. It feels really passionate, but I get that you want to handle something at a different pace because I feel like it is really big and you want it to last. You don't want it to be short-lived. I'm also seeing that for some of you, you sparked a passion so big in someone, whether this is somebody new or somebody from the past, that I feel like that it keeps getting relit, at least inside of them. At least when they have fantasies about you, they can respark and ignite that passion again, again and again. I mean, that would be why somebody would keep watching you and be curious about what you're doing with or without them. So you do have somebody, I feel like this has to do with the pace. Maybe somebody wants not just chemistry, but a family with you, a foundation with you, security with you, something solid. I do feel like somebody, maybe with that established energy, was thinking about children or their inner child, or working on their finances somehow, because it says security. Somebody wanted to feel secure in a decision or getting on the right track without it just being all about the chemistry. Let's take that and get something else. Why is established chemistry? For some of you, you have somebody from your past and they just didn't have their shit together. Whether that's immaturity in some aspect of their life, emotional immaturity, maybe there was a lot of passion, but they never had follow through. But I feel like for some of you, you had someone that in some way, because I keep seeing like somebody working on something, working on their self-responsibility, but it could be actually working on like building a home or feeling more established in their career, something like that. And I feel like for some of you, you were the catalyst or the trigger that made someone, I'm getting kind of wake up different. What else would be helpful for the collective? Because before, somebody was in a fog. They weren't seeing something clearly. They weren't making appropriate decisions. They couldn't see their next step. For some of you, somebody had to get their you-know-what together because they made you feel insecure about their pace or the actions they were taking. If they were in and out and up and down, all over the place, mixed signals, they like you one day. What is that, hot and cold, like Katy Perry? Hot and you're cold, you're yes and you're no, you're in and you're out, you're up and you're down. You're wrong when it's right, it's black and it's white. That's all I got. So, maybe that's how someone was. Maybe that's how someone was just used to doing things. Maybe somebody was insecure or not sure about you. And I still feel like somebody is looking at how they blocked themselves maybe how they blocked you. But if they had blocked emotions, this could be somebody who just isn't used to thinking about how they actually feel. Maybe surface level stuff feels easier, you know, working on their career, working on the things that they can feel and touch and have control over. And I kind of feel like somebody didn't really have a lot of control over their emotions, especially if they were emotions that came after chemistry. Maybe somebody had a lot of chemistry, but they didn't think they really have the deep feels for you. It could also be that somebody is in confusion here because maybe a family dynamic or family values or what they taught, maybe that's changing, or maybe somebody has a lot of opinions on, you know, what they should do. It could also be that if somebody has another person, or you have another person that is clinging on, kind of obsessing, like always being watched, that maybe is making somebody's forward movement, whether that's you or someone else, confusing to you or them, because they're kind of moving in the shadows, or they have to do something to release an attachment without without you being involved. I feel like that could even be protection. But for some of you, somebody knows they blocked their emotions, and quite frankly, they effed up. They just messed up. And maybe somebody's finally having reflection on how they would have done something different with you. Tell us more. You got that twice. Somebody can't let you go. But now it's adoration. It's not just chemistry. It's not just obsession and spying and watching and wishing and hoping and praying. Somebody here knows they adore you. That's such a good song. I love that song. So somebody knows that they adore you, but it could also be that someone is recognizing that there could have been addictions in their life. Maybe they can't even figure out why they are so obsessed with thinking about having a new beginning with you, or they're looking at addictions they had that were holding them back from new beginnings in their life. This is plural. If some of you had a situation you had to let go of, you had to do it with a lot of strength, and you should be proud of yourself. Because maybe there's somebody now obsessing over you, watching you, adoring how strong you are, how you've, had a glow up, or what you've become out of the ruckus, out of pain, out of stress. I hear like madness. Mad World, that's a song. I feel like that's why I needed to hear that. It's beautiful, and I really haven't heard it in a long time. Maybe somebody feels like everything's just always, chaos around them. Maybe you were the calm for somebody. Maybe you were the catalyst for somebody to make a lot of changes in their life and many new beginnings, which means there has to be endings, there has to be release, there has to be a let go, there has to be a moving on and a growth to have that. So somebody wants to go in a new direction. Maybe that's towards you. Maybe you inspired someone to go in a new direction in their life. Maybe you had to really have the strength to go in your own direction. Maybe somebody's wondering if you're happy without them, or how you did something. I'm getting with such grace. Doesn't mean that you didn't cry your eyes out in the car or on your own, or really go through like times where you had snot coming out your nose. But I still feel like you gained a lot of strength out of a situation. For most of you, this is somebody that wants a beginning with you, whether that's somebody from your past or somebody new. But just know there are new beginnings ahead, so that's what you should look towards. Try again, new direction, and starting over. If somebody's starting over, it can't be like it was before, when you lost, confidence in yourself. Maybe you didn't understand why somebody would be in and out, up and down. Maybe you even talked about how, wow, you see that? Maybe you even talked about how you would have a solid foundation, or dreams you'd have with a person, how you'd have these new beginnings, and then you're left in the cold. So if somebody is coming back, they have to come back changed. Their actions have to be different. I hear security, and I hear like confidence, but I'm getting the energy of maturing. So that was a lot. Let's see what else is going on. I got to dig through my cards here in my little waterproof bag. I'll be right. All right, let's go deeper and look at the divine truth. See what is going on right now with this person's energy and situation that you don't know about, but would be helpful for you. So tell us about foundation abandoned. I was reading obsession, but I Freudian slipped confession. So maybe somebody has something to confess. Chemistry and clinging. What would be helpful to know? That right now you have to pay attention to your frequency, or somebody knows that the frequency, the energy of you is beyond compare. It's the same message coming through though. It's somebody that cannot stop thinking about you. So maybe you didn't know that. Maybe you're also mirroring somebody. You know, if your core frequencies are similar, then you could be the one also thinking about this person at the same time that they are thinking about you. But I can't stop thinking about you. And this means you and this person are now aligning on the same frequency and vibration, which means at some point somebody got out of alignment. You know, I just think of a car. You know, they were wobbling around. They weren't secure going down the road with 3 tires. So, ooh, that was a fish. I wonder if that was on camera. Clarify frequency for the collective. So for most of you, you have never heard this person really express how they feel about you. This is somebody that's maybe in a lot of pain right now. Where's that? Maybe they feel left out, that you've moved on. But somebody's higher self right now wants you to know that they didn't tell you how much you meant to them. I don't know how to say this enough, but I truly do love you. That's really beautiful. And that's coming from this person's higher self, from their soul. There's also somebody with that butterfly that's getting ready to speak up, or having a transformation with being able to say the words. Maybe it's even recognizing how they feel. Because I feel like for a lot of you, they don't know how to put how they feel into words, but I feel like just saying I love you is probably the easiest way to express what they feel. Yeah. Maybe for some of you, you left somebody on red. You don't know how to respond after being hurt, or after there's been a lot of distance. How do you just start up again? If some of you are the one left on red, I feel like you've now stopped looking at your phone. If somebody didn't respond, they didn't know how to, or they were too busy, or insecure, or immature. I'm not sure how to respond to your messages at times, so I get quiet. I feel like if there's somebody that needed space, you've learned to give them space so that somebody feels more secure, that maybe you aren't going to abandon them just because they need to take some time to get their foundation, you know, to figure something out. I kind of feel like the more space you allow. Now this is, I feel like it's a different group of you. Maybe for some of you, you are dealing with a typical avoidant, but if they are learning, which would take time, that you're pretty, I'm getting that you're even. I'm getting calm and peaceful, tranquility kind of energy, where this person doesn't have to feel stressed out that you're going to get upset or you're going to get mad if they go away or take some time. I also feel like some of you might even take the initiative to create the space, you know, to reflect on what you need to go through if you feel a little stressed out over someone's behavior. So maybe you're the first one to say, hey, you know what, I need to think about this. You know, I'm not mad, I'm not pissed off, but I'm gonna take a couple days and just kind of do my own thing. I feel like in that case, somebody might come through even sooner, because I feel like they see the maturity in you. that you're not in that clinging kind of energy over here where you have to be up their ass all the time, you know, on the phone, you know, hear back from them. It's like, okay, you're good doing your own thing, and that feels like maturity. Maybe that's going to help somebody if they have abandonment issues, because I am getting that somebody did and does feel secure in your energy around you. But maybe this is also a lesson that you're learning. So, you know, people are in our life so we grow together, so we learn. So rather than focusing on what this person did or did not do, what was your role? What did you learn? What changed because of this dynamic or situation that created growth in you? Look at that. So let's get you one more. One more, please, and thank you. She's just bobbing all over the place. It's like an interactive reading here. What is one more message? Frequency, introverted. You got one backwards. Maybe there's some divine intervention. Something's coming through to bring you together. Maybe there was something that was kind of pushing you apart, and now Spirit is stepping in to create transformation in a person, help them see something differently, get you both in the right vibration so you come together whole. Wow, big. Expect a miracle. Divine intervention is pushing the two of you together. So there's a reason that you need to come back together, whether that's closure, to, you know, become friends, to get back on track, or to have that beautiful new beginning. Where's your beginning? Over here at the bottom. Beginnings. Hi, babe. Try to keep her bobbing. She's going with the current over here. So let's get you one more. What is one more, please, and thank you. Somebody maybe was worried about the gossip. Oh my God, what are they gonna say? You know, what are they gonna do? I'm also getting that somebody was kind of a gossip, putting their 2 cents in where it didn't belong. Maybe they had other intentions. Maybe this is somebody who is a people pleaser or overly concerned about, you know, what the cool kids would say, what their family would say, what their bestie would say, what their ex would say, whatever it is. Everyone is talking about the relationship. I just heard, what was it, a dragonfly? Whoa, whoa, do you see? Let's give them something to talk about, a little mystery to figure out. I kind of feel like someone's starting to not give a shit what others say. So if you have a frequency that's dynamic and, you know, directed by divine energy, by your higher selves, then you probably do have a lot of chemistry. You probably do have real, like, deep love. And that's going to be envied, you know, by some people. It's also where some people are in awe that they actually see something so beautiful there. So it depends on what their frequency is, on how they observe your situation. But right now, pay attention to your situation. If everyone's talking about the relationship, let them talk. People are just, they're jelly of your connection. They're jelly of your person. Maybe they had a relationship with your person in the past, and they are obviously in a different energy when they're around you. I'm also getting that maybe some of you have somebody who's leaving somebody else on red because you're the one they want to talk to, you're the one in their mind, you're the one in the heart, and they're thinking about how your connection is just different. So pay attention to your reflection. Wow, you have divine, whatever this is, you have divine intervention and divine timing. The universe always delivers in divine timing. Be patient, trust the process, and it's 11:11. So the good old divine timing means it's not on your schedule. So wherever you are in this journey, trust that you have a lesson right now. You have, I hear momentum you're supposed to be doing, or self-reflection on what needs to change. So maybe you can help this divine timing happen, you know, in the right frequency. So pay attention to your frequency right now, your energy right now. Don't listen to so much from outside sources. Listen to your higher self. You know, the messages you're getting from the divine, which obviously are coming in here in spirit. So let's get you some extra messages. Hold on. I actually set an alarm because this reading has to be a little shorter. I have to skedaddle. But before we go to the tarot, I did bring some of these words of truth. So these are just random. I just pulled a bunch and brought them down here. These are for you. So we have tears, pushing, pain, unknown, form, appropriate time, rest, sobriety, domain shift, money, sacred fun, joy, male, divine intervention. Oh, you have that times 2. Wow, so maybe that's the biggest message right now. Know that, trust, have faith, divine intervention is stepping in and helping whatever the situation is. Female, wow. Meditation, breakthrough, I like that. Receiving, continuum. I just heard the Erica Badu song, On and On. Goes on and on and on and on. Something like a rolling stone. That's all I got. All right, let's go to the tarot and get you a little bit of clarity from the tarot. Rose, you're being such a good girl today. So what would be helpful right now as advice for the collective to know? What is the most prominent energy situation to know about today? Please and thank you. Somebody is definitely, it's back to the beginning. Somebody's definitely in their head. They're up at night. They're receiving wisdom though. Maybe this is you or someone else working something out with your higher self, with the divine. You have that wise energy of the owl. Don't jump. So somebody could be under a lot of stress overall in their life. It could be sneaking up at night if they're ignoring this in the day. Maybe somebody's having nightmares. Sometimes I see this. I know it's a really unusual way to look at it, but sometimes I see it upside down as someone who's still not really sleeping, but instead of having nightmares and thinking about, you know, anxiety-driven energy, it's almost like anxiety comes because they're fantasizing about a beautiful moment or beautiful moments they never got to have. So it's like the fantasies are still kind of beautiful, but somebody's not taking action towards them, and that is the underlying stress in a situation. So maybe for some of you, you also wake up at a certain time every night, or it could just be life in general that's stressing somebody out. Why is the Nine of Swords here for the collective? Please and thank you. I'm going to move you upstream a little. Move you upstream. Because somebody feels overwhelmed. Like all the weight of the world is on their shoulders. Maybe this was even you. Maybe you felt like the weight of the world was on your shoulders because of this situation, especially if you have all this divine energy. Maybe that's why the divine's coming in to help lighten your energy, you know, lift the weight up a little bit. This is just where somebody has to have an ending. You're going from the 9 to the 10, which is a progression, but this is from being in your mind or somebody over analyzing so much to the point where there's no action to finally taking action, using all that strength to make some different choices. Because I see the 10 of Wands as cleaning up the mess, letting the heavy baggage go, doing something a different way so it's not a repeat pattern and always done the hard way. Maybe somebody's recognizing they always kind of did it the hard way. It could have been so much easier had they adapted or been flexible or handled something differently. Maybe this is somebody that had a repeat pattern and that's the way they always did it and didn't recognize that they are the thread of the anxiety that they feel. What else? Sometimes that's also somebody that believes they are the only one who can handle that heavy load, which is not true. Maybe you're coming through and you are able to, I don't know, like I see like you giving somebody a helping hand or wise advice, or maybe it's just your calm energy that creates this space for this person to feel lighter, which would make help make different choices. Tell us about the Ten of Wands, the Nine of Swords. Why are these two coming through? Because somebody met an Empress. Because somebody recognized that whoever this Empress energy is, it is the peace. Look at, you got the Dove. There's something about this Empress being connected to the Holy Spirit, to the divine. They're holding this lotus, which comes out of the mucky situation, out of the, the fog and the confusion, and blossoms with this spiritual illumination kind of energy. Maybe it's how you unfold. Watch me unfold. What's that? Elena Perez and Galimatias. Watch me unfold. Maybe you're unfolding differently than the past. Maybe this is why you've inspired somebody to transform. This is also you looking at yourself, your feminine side, whatever that is, and knowing what you deserve to receive, what you birth and want to nurture, and what you plant and harvest. There's also this energy where you're just letting something go. She has like almost like a waterfall coming off of her dress. If the Empress is upside down, she had to learn to really tap into her higher self, to tap into that strength that the Empress is, because the Empress is sometimes just waiting, but sometimes the Empress wants to do, wants to nurture, wants to run a kingdom. The Empress energy doesn't need an emperor, doesn't need anyone else for her to handle everything on her own. But maybe this Empress is somebody that also needed to learn to ask for help sometimes. This is waiting. This is having patience, knowing when there's a harvest and taking that basket there so you can, so you can gather the harvest. But I always see the Seven of Pentacles as having to reevaluate your next decision. Looking at that past season, what worked, what grew, how was the foundation, how was the weather, and you have to be adaptable every step of that process every day. So maybe you expect your seeds to grow because it's supposed to be beautiful weather, but then you had a whole season of rain. So maybe you have to take all of those plants and cover them. And if it's maybe really dry, maybe you have to drag that garden hose out and put some extra attention on something. It's that adaptation. But you have to learn how to adapt by attending that garden. Let's take that and get you one more. But let's just take what's ever at the bottom. What is the final message? Seven of Pentacles, and that's somebody who wants to put in with that Pentacles real effort into whatever it is that they are birthing and growing and sticking around for. So final message for the collective. Somebody's watching. It goes back to somebody is watching you. Maybe somebody is watching you blossom into an Empress. Maybe because some of you are watching an Empress. If you feel like you're the masculine energy, then maybe this Empress has you in awe. If somebody's only coming in with a little Page's energy, though, it has to maybe start small, but that's the immaturity thing. Because I see the Page of Swords sometimes as the know-it-all. It could also be that gossip energy, where somebody thinks they know it all, but they don't know, anything about the truth of a situation they're not actually involved with. They just go by the hearsay. They just go by, the reflection of the relationships they've known, their own personal breadcrumbing situation. But maybe that's totally different from your situation. There could also be a child or somebody that's really intelligent but has a lot to learn. Here it's somebody who regurgitates the gossip or only reads the cliff notes and thinks they know everything about that situation, but they only have a small little picture. It could also just be a message to tell you somebody's watching you right now. They don't know how to come in, but they're thinking differently. They're questioning everything. They're willing to go back to that Page's energy and start again. Sometimes this is just a page, it's communication, it's a text, it's an email, it's a conversation. And sometimes you have to go back to the beginning. Start small and regrow new. So, I think I did. Hold on. Hold on. Don't fall in the water. I have my spirit messages. So let's get you the final message because I got to skedaddle. I'm going to have to throw all these cards in my bag and book it down the creek. What is the final message, please and thank you? Make it your mission. I said something about a mission to accept all parts of you. The good and what you perceive to be imperfections. Don't look for any outside validation. Beautiful message. You know, own who you are. We all have shadow and brilliance. You know, but are you growing? Are you changing? Don't look for outside validation on how valuable and worthy you are, how spectacular you are, how unique you are. It's already within you. Once you realize your true beauty and potential, you will never doubt yourself again. With this, I bid you adieu. I hope this reading was helpful. I look forward to seeing you very soon. Say goodbye to Rose. Rose, you were such a good girl. And see you soon. I love you. Bye.